The fact is that whatever's next isn't like a consolation prize. It could be the main event. A crossroad is not punishment. It's an invitation. How about this? Am I going to trust the people to observe the line and know that they're supposed to stay over there? And I
Well,
get
hell,
to
not
stay
where
here?
I live.
Well, okay. Yeah. Except for there.
No, siree.
Okay.
Those are mere suggestions.
I withdraw my example.
Welcome back to Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. I'm DocShellie.
And I'm Carla Lewis. Today we are going to talk about rebooting. This is rebooting at the crossroads. When we reach those turning points, we reach those points that either we're forced to or it suddenly feels like we need to make a shift. It could be midlife. It could be some kind of momentum that ended or started. And we want to address this whole notion of this starting over. What's behind it, what's in it, what it takes, what maybe prevents us from making the decision when all the rest of us knows this is really what we need to do. So let's talk about this reboot at the crossroads.
Let's do it.
Do it.
What was your last crossroads moment?
Oh, that was when I decided to leave the work I was doing when we were working together. And it had
I will
nothing
still
to
never
do
forgive you. I will still never forgive you.
But no, seriously. So as much as I was enjoying the work I was doing and the people I was working with, unlike when I first retired from the other company that we never worked together, we both worked for, at that one, I decided I needed to leave. I had my 30 years in, and it was because I sensed that if I were to stick around any longer, I was likely going to be asked to leave because I was an expensive piece that was on the game table. And things were changing. And I just felt like, you know what? I want to leave on my terms. And so that one was different. This one was, and we've talked about it before, I thought I have more to give, but their sponge is full. And
How did I interrupted you. Carry on.
it just that I had more to give, but there wasn't any more room for consumption. It was, we were going to be at that level. Not we, I was going to be giving at that level, at least for a while longer. And it didn't feel like I was then giving everything that I had to give. I've grown up with, you leave it all on the field, right? Every day, bringing everything you got. And when you're loving what you're doing and you love the people you're working with, that isn't hard. What's hard though is when that race engine has to be put on a lower gear or a neutral, and you've still got all of this fire going and there's nowhere for it to go. And it was not good for me. And I just felt that it was time. I needed to take that next step.
So I think that's a great example. And like when I think about the second half of that question, so what was your last crossroads moment?
Mhm.
That was your description of that. And like, how did you know it was time? You've addressed a couple things.
Mhm.
It was that kind of that feeling of I've had to put myself into a lower gear.
For me, that is what it was. The
Was that
work
like
remained.
that was the key of, okay, I'm in a lower gear than I want to be. I can't perform at the level I want. So it's time.
And it wasn't just the level I want, it was the level I was accustomed to. I never left an organization because I was done working.
Mhm.
There was more to be done.
You were done working there.
Yes. And so, yeah, it was a physical and emotional sense that came over me. And I waited a good long time. It was probably about 4 months as I saw this winding up or winding down, that I just said, okay, let's get as much good work done as we can. And then it It felt like that's as far as it was going to go.
Mhm.
And so if there was nothing more for me to give, then that made me just another cog in the wheel. There was nothing from what I felt to be a rich background and history. There's no room for that anymore. And not so much no room. That isn't even the right way to say it, Michelle. It was just, there was more and it wasn't going to come out there. There was no place for it. And so, because I'm still not done, I wasn't done then, and that was 8 years ago, and I'm still not done. And it was time to go and take the next step in making a Carla kind of difference in the world. So it was a
Excellent.
lot of thinking. There was soul searching because how many of you listening to this have ever been blessed to be working, doing the work you love to do with people you absolutely cherish and in a setting where you were welcome to do what it was that you were there to do? I mean, that all of that coming together in one, holy cow.
Yeah.
So it was a lot to leave that,
Mhm.
but it was what I needed to do. How about for you, my friend?
Mm. Same organization several years later. Again, I had a great team doing the work I loved, but there was a lot of changes that were going on, and it was very much sucking the life out of me. And it was hard because I wanted to stay because I loved my team. I liked the people I was working with, but there were changes happening. And then they made the decision for me. So they let me go. And I said, thank you very much. So
Yeah.
it was a little bit more of a forced crossroad,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt it coming. It came at a really inopportune time, as they always do.
There's never a
Um,
good time, right?
but I had been looking prior to that. So it wasn't a huge surprise for me. And I just took the time to, like, I took time off. I went on a trip to Italy. I did what I called my practice retirement for the summer. I had a great time in just letting it all go. There was a little bit of a grieving process of walking
Mm.
away from a company that I love. I absolutely loved working at that organization. I made so many great friends. I
Mm.
know I had an impact there. I still get phone calls from people that are like, I so miss working with you, and I miss this and I miss that, which all that feels good, but I outgrew the organization.
Yeah.
And they were slower to move forward in certain areas than I was. And it was maddening to me. So I was ready for the crossroads, even though it came slightly unexpectedly. I wasn't totally unexpected, but anyway, kind of the same thing. It was like, I'm just going to take some time and really figure out
Mhm.
what is next, because I have the opportunity. I'm fortunate to have been able to take almost a year. Some of that was job searching, some of that was building my own business, some of that was, can I retire?
Mhm.
No, you can't, because you have an expensive lifestyle and you don't have a pension. So, no. Get your ass
Excuse
back to
me.
work. So, all of those things. But I found a pretty good balance of a job that truly values work life balance. I can build my own business. I can still have time for, obviously, my pickleball,
Gotta do that.
my golf, family, friends, like all the things. And so it's a much better balance now.
And what's curious is we both hinted at that there were hints that
Oh, yeah.
might have been signals that were coming from the outside, that might have been just that kind of, there was something new and kind of gnawing that we became aware of individually through these experiences. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, the first thing, we talk about it in a lot of different ways, but that first awareness, the awareness that there's something's nagging at me, something's telling me change is a coming.
Mhm.
And it may, again, it may be not that you would have wanted it to be forced upon you. I left simply because I did not want it to be forced upon me
Mhm.
when I left the 30-year relationship with a job, not with a person, with a job. Lots of people. But so there's something that says change is a coming.
Yeah.
And we we owe it to ourselves to be aware of those things that start suggesting that there's something that's a little tangential to what has become the normal day-to-day straight and narrow. And it's about recognizing that when those moments come, it's not like you got to blow everything up that you had before. It's not even like you're starting over. You get to decide what you're going to carry forward and then work at leaving behind the stuff that you have been dragging. I had that vision of you when you're talking about it's like you've got this Ferrari engine and you're dragging a brick building behind you. And it's like you're going to just wear out really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I have a few women that I'm coaching right now, and several of them are kind of in this throes of not enjoying their job, not enjoying their work, and terrified of starting over. And to try to have that conversation of you're not really starting over, you're starting wiser. You've had 18, 20, 25, 30 years at a company. I get that it's scary to walk away from what you know and what you're familiar with. You could insert any situation. It's scary to walk away, even if it's a horrible situation, because you don't know what else is out there. But I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage to pause, to really reassess and admit that this isn't working. Yeah, you got a great income. Yeah, you've got decent health benefits. I will tell you, when I left that organization, I found out that the benefits were not all that. I now have excellent benefits. but to really think through why something doesn't work and then balance that with, it's scary to lose your income. It's scary to lose those benefits. It's scary to lose those perks that you have working for some of these big organizations. And also scary to think that I could do this for another 10 or 15 years. It's like, what needs to change for you to reboot?
It's about what is it going to take to finally actually sit down with yourself and face the truth of a situation. Perhaps it's about drawing a new boundary. It's about saying yes to you. And we have talked about so many different components that go into that. You know, what it is that defines the relationship we have with our family, our friends, our work, who we see ourselves as, what we abhor, what, you know, all of these things. There's all of these things. And so when change comes, because we make a choice saying, I can no longer sustain myself in this setting, then it's a matter of determining, okay, it's okay. Say yes to yourself, because if it's gotten to that point where the signals are very strong indeed, and you cannot ignore them and choose to not ignore them anymore, say, okay, what's it going to take? And the fact is that whatever's next isn't like a consolation prize. It could be the main event. It could be the big deal.
And I also think, like, we both had those career moments that we chose as our most recent kind of reboot, right? So I also want to just be really clear that it doesn't have to be something that big. It can be something really, really small. It could be, I'm trying to think of something really small that maybe was recent for me. Deciding to play pickleball a year and a half ago. Like, I never played pickleball before in my life. I'd never even heard of it until a couple of years ago.
And it was always in a documentary that focused on seniors.
Right. Or, you know, the tennis community is just, they think pickleball is so ridiculous. And so, like, just deciding that was kind of a reboot, right? I had to stop playing a lot of competitive sports, partially because my job didn't allow me the time and some injuries. And so I thought, yeah, a couple of my friends are going to go out and try it. I'm going to go try it too. They all went back to playing tennis, and I have, like, just taken off with my pickleball, and I absolutely love it. So, like, for me, that would be a small thing that I rebooted. And it was pickleball, for crying out loud. Like, it doesn't have to be a big earth shattering, oh my God, my job needs to be rebooted, I have to reboot my entire career. It can be one little thing. Maybe you're going to go to bed a half an hour earlier. It could be that small.
It could be.
Really think about what in your life, what chapter is ending, and what haven't you said out loud yet? What do you want to reboot?
It's
It's
so
your choice.
it is, and it's that we talk about it in terms of a crossroad, and that sounds pretty heavy and all that. But to your point, it could be anything that's a shift from what's true and real today. It's an invitation. A crossroad is not punishment. It's an invitation to be able to really take a look at if you're feeling stuck or bored or just antsy about something. That's not failure. It's a
No, I mean,
pause. It's a
every day we get in our car, we face a crossroad. Literally.
yeah,
Am I going to go north, south, east, west? And when I
yes.
get to the stop sign at the end of the road,
How about this? Am I going to trust the people to observe the lines and know that they're supposed to stay over there and I
well,
get to
hell, not
stay
where
here?
I live.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah. Except for there.
No, siree.
Okay.
Those are mere suggestions.
I withdraw my example. But the reboot is really just letting go of versions of things that you've done. It's not, it's nothing about a judgment or a failure. It doesn't have to be dramatic, like you've been let go from your job, you've been let go from the relationship. It doesn't have to be big. It could be, well, I know
Just choosing a
pickleball's
new route.
big.
It didn't start off that way. I had no idea it was going to become what it came. But it's really, you're just choosing a different route,
Yes,
or route, however you want to say the word.
works both ways.
But it's a choice. And I think part of that choice is we often get stuck in what we're leaving behind because there is a grieving process that we have to go through. And we often don't acknowledge that, even for little changes.
In my work, I think change itself is not hard. It's letting go of what we know, of what is familiar, that makes it
Mhm,
the challenge it is.
mhm.
So that part you just brought out, it needs to be underscored and bolded and highlighted and all of that because it's if you could just let go even of some of those little itty bitty things, your load is lighter.
Yeah. And it's letting go of the things, but like carrying your wisdom forward. You don't have to carry the whole identity.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
carry the wisdom, the lessons, carry that forward and leave the rest of it behind.
Hmm.
You're saying goodbye to the comfort of what you knew. But you're going to take all those lessons and all that wisdom and you're going to move forward with it in a whole new, different way.
Because you've evolved. You are evolving. Your
Yeah.
wants have shifted. It's an update to your story. It's just an update to your story. So be able to want something different isn't about quitting. It's not quitting. It's you're leveraging what you know about yourself, what you've learned, what you've just been egged on to recognize, and you've developed some awareness and wisdom around the so what of that.
Mhm.
And then you take those steps that say, yeah, little, big, in between. A reboot is probably a really perfect choice right now.
Mhm. I think that is a great way to sum it up. And I like that was very intelligent.
Well, when you've used up all your adult words, I know how that
Yes.
feels.
I was going to say the bravest move isn't always just charging ahead. Sometimes it's just a different road altogether. Like sometimes we're just on the wrong path and we don't want to admit it to ourselves because it feels like failure.
Hmm.
It is not failure. You have learned something. You are a different person. So choosing a different road altogether can be a beautiful thing. Maybe it's something small where you just need a small shift. You need to go to the right lane instead of the left lane, but you're still heading down the same path. Whatever it is your story, and you get to rewrite it. Even if the ink is still wet, it doesn't matter. You're always writing your story.
Keep that story going. With that, I'm Carla Lewis.
I'm DocShellie. We'll see you next time. sometimes we're just on the wrong path and we don't want to admit it to ourselves because it feels like failure. It is not failure. You have learned something. You are a different person. So choosing a different road altogether can be a beautiful thing. Maybe it's something small where you just need a small shift. Whatever it is your story and you get to rewrite it. Even if the ink is still wet,